And welcome to the news for the week of July 26. I am Delrith, bringing you quick news again as always. And today we're going to open up with the fact that Minecraft owner Mojang has banned in-game NFTs to discourage profiteering. Now, for those of you that don't know, an NFT is basically a picture file on a blockchain or something like that that you own exclusive rights to. Everyone knows what NFTs are, have a general idea of what they are. But Mojang has decided that they are way too exploitative and there's a lot of people profiting off of them that shouldn't be, and they just don't want that in their game, especially since obviously Minecraft is very child oriented. They are taking a extremely strong stance against NFTs and saying it's all not going to be allowed. They're not going to be allowed. Any blockchain technology is not going to be allowed or permitted to be integrated inside our client and server applications. And this includes servers that already exist. Now, there are a couple of NFT and like blockchain based Minecraft servers already that people have been profiting off of, and they're obviously pretty pissed about it. But I think overall this fits with what most people think, where it's just exploitative and it's not something that most people want in their video games. Some companies have created NFT implementations, apologies, that are associated with Minecraft world files and skin packs, which again ties back into the servers I've already talked about. And they just don't want it to be involved. They don't want any part against it. They don't want it to be part of their game. They don't want all that stuff leaking in. They don't want greed and money laundering and all this stuff that's happening with the broader NFT market to be involved in their game. And I think it's a good stance. We've seen a lot of dive bombing lately with blockchain based things, with NFTs prices going down and all of these scams, like these rinse and wash scams where someone will go and post an NFT for 100 million and then they'll buy it with a shell company or a different person, and then that money effectively becomes laundered, and then that NFT is worth $100 million, and now they can sell that for that amount. It's been a complete, I guess, shit show of abuses and practices that, you know, Mojang just says, nah, I don't want that in Minecraft. Get rid of it. Let me know what you think of NFTs and their implementations of video games in the comments down below. Next up on the news, on the opposite end of the scale, we've got the Epic boss saying that NFT games won't be banned on the Epic Games Store. His entire reasoning behind it is that he doesn't want to have Epic have any say or do in what people sell on his platform. He doesn't want to have any sort of moderation in any sense of the word, basically forcing companies to conform to certain ways, because he's very open with the idea of let people do what they want, and if their game isn't successful, they won't make money, or if people don't like it, it won't make money. But again, a lot of the concern comes from the predatory natures and the cons going on around NFTs and the bait and switches and all this awful stuff. Personally, I'm in the camp of not allowing them at all, because it's a very abusable technology and a very abusable system that people have been abusing, and it just makes people look bad and makes a lot of people lose their money. This ties back into the unofficial Minecraft NFT game Blockverse. A great example is they pulled the money and ran. They disappeared with more than $1.2 million. You may have remembered, we talked about it briefly, the NFT scandal where they got a bunch of NFT skins being purchased and pre-ordered a bunch of stuff, then just stole it and ran. There's a lot of other huge examples of this where people basically offer a ton of NFT things and people buy in early, and then the person just does a rug pull and just takes everything and runs. And most game companies are shying away from this now, and a lot of platforms like Valve specifically have basically taken an anti-NFT stance along with Mojang, like I stated previously. But Epic is like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Just, we're gonna do it. We'll see how long that lasts, as the internet essentially has turned against them in this point. A lot of people really don't like that. A lot of people don't want NFTs on any sort of game platform, or Web3 based games, or blockchain based games, or anything along those lines, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It does look like most publishers and developers that own these storefronts are pushing back against it and getting rid of them, but Epic, it seems to be the exception to the rule. And I have to wonder if it's money motivated or genuinely because he wants to just allow people to do what they want and fail on their own. But hey, we'll have to see in the future. Next up, we have a rumor that Sony is interested in acquiring Square Enix. We touched very briefly on this back when Square Enix sold their Eidos Montreal branch IP properties, including Tomb Raider and stuff. And I'm not surprised. I would say that Microsoft might also try to swoop in and make a couple bids on this, but it does look like the rumor circulating from in the company is that Sony is interested in acquiring Square Enix, or at least allowing them to function independently under ownership of Sony. and it'll be interesting to see what that has to, what changes happen due to that in the future, if it does happen. But it's one of those things that has to happen. You've got these giant tech giants like Microsoft buying up everything. And the rule of the game right now is if you don't hunker down and start buying properties yourself, if you're Nintendo or Sony or one of the competitors, you're going to have a lot of problems in the future, which is also why we talked about EA possibly being sold and or bought by Microsoft or some other major company in the near future, just because these, I guess, mid-size to large size developers and platforms can't really compete with the monsters like Microsoft and Sony right now. But we will have to wait and see what happens. It would be interesting. I think that Sony would do an okay job at regulating and moderating the content that Square Enix puts out. And I think that Sony is very accepting when it comes to developers doing their own thing and is generally in the right with a lot of stuff as far as like disallowing bad products. Case in point, taking Cyberpunk down. So we'll just have to wait on this. I'm interested to see where this goes, but I'm not surprised that Sony is looking to buy it. And this came from an insider at the Square Enix company and the Eidos Montreal company that allegedly said that this is in the talks. And there was some comments out at press conferences that seemed to support it. So we'll wait and see. Now in interesting news, FaZe Clan went public after being announced that they were worth 725 million. They went public and their trading bombed 25% in the first day, which devalued their company quite a bit. I'm not surprised. FaZe Clan, although it is an extremely popular organization with tons of players and tons of YouTube subscribers, like just an unbelievable amount of followers, around 500 million across all of its social media channels. I'm not surprised that it didn't do well when it went public and stocks were involved, because most of their audience is Gen Z and younger, with a couple of millennials being thrown into that mix, but it is mostly Gen Z. And I don't really see Gen Z as the generation that's currently investing in stocks and doing stuff like that right now. So when they went public and a lot of people didn't buy into it, I'm not surprised. We'll have to see if it recovers and how well it does over the next few months. But it was very interesting to see an esports organization, something such as FaZe, going public. And honestly, I'm wondering if a lot of this bombing is due to the fact that they've been associated with a lot of pump and dump schemes in the past few months and past few years, where they'll support something and then pull all the money and then it goes away, and there's a lot of controversy around that. So I don't know if it's because the generation that watches them doesn't really care about stocks or anything along those lines, or whether or not people are just like, no, we're not giving you more money because all these other things have fallen through because of it. But we'll just have to wait and see if it recovers. But it is crazy that they've lost 25% of their value as a company in the first day as far as their initial valuation goes. So will it keep going down? Will it go up? Will it recover? Who knows? We'll have to see. But I don't know enough about stocks and finances to really go into incredible detail. You can read more in the article. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's going on if you know some stuff I don't know. But I just thought it was incredibly crazy that they went public, and this is just the downhill trend is just a straight shot down. Ubisoft cancels 4 games, including Splinter Cell VR and Ghost Recon Frontline. And it just seems like the Ubisoft bad news is back to back to back to back. And they just delayed Avatar Frontiers of Pandora and another smaller premium game. But it just seems like Ubisoft just keeps getting hit and keeps throwing these punches at themselves. And it's kind of crazy. There's 2 games that are unannounced that Ubisoft did not disclose, which is a darn shame. So we'll never know what those are going to be. But the Splinter Cell VR title and Ghost Recon Frontline have been canceled. They're not doing very well as a company. I think that Ubisoft is definitely getting to the make or break point, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start looking for somebody to acquire them and their titles in the near future. But it's just sad for gamers, because Splinter Cell is one of my favorite franchises, as well as Ghost Recon, and any chance for those franchises to come back is great. But with these games being canceled, I'm not so sure that there will be more of them in the near future. We'll just have to wait and see if maybe news of the new games will be leaked. The other 2 that weren't announced will get leaked, because I'm genuinely curious if they were tied to any other IPs we like. But we'll just have to wait and find out, and I'll let you know next week if they do in fact get leaked. Lord of the Rings Online Gollum has been delayed by a few months. I believe I watched a podcast on this basically asking who this game appeals to. And I still stand, I stand completely by that. I don't know who this appeals to, but if you are one of the few people that are interested in playing Gollum, it's been delayed by a couple of months. Now it's pushed back to late this year, December, maybe next year. Who knows? It's just, it's up in the air at this point, but obviously it's got some technical problems. As the title suggests, it's a little raw and wriggling. And there was a press release about it. They said, first of all, we would like to thank you for your patience, yada, yada, yada. We're dedicated to meeting our community's expectations and making sure it's not crap. We've decided to push it by a few months. We'll update you with the exact timing in the near future. I'm thinking December, maybe even January of next year. Who knows? But if you are going to play it, now you have to wait a little longer. I'll probably review it for the hilarity of it, just because I'm able to do such a thing, or at least do impressions on it. But hey, this is always good. Again, I'm a fan of delays. If the developers think their game isn't ready, then it's probably not ready, and it's great when marketing lets you delay it, so whatever. So last year in 2021, there were leaks about Assassin's Creed possibly being in the Edo period of Japan. And now it seems like there's another leak, Project Red, maybe set in Asia and included with Infinity. There was a lot of stuff last year speculating about how Assassin's Creed was going to be in Japan. There were insider leaks. I don't remember at what time. I think it was in like January, February of 2021. This stuff got leaked. I'm sure Maxi will throw up some articles from back then on the screen talking about it. But it does look like there is some more leaks coming out that confirms that Japanese Assassin's Creed will be happening. I'm all for this. I've wanted a Japanese Assassin's Creed where you can play as a ninja or a shogun or a samurai or something since 2010. I know a lot of people say, oh, that time has come and passed, especially with the release of the awesome game Ghost of Tsushima, but I just still want it, man. There's something, like, it just fits so perfectly in the Assassin's Creed universe to be a ninja. Whatever you end up being and whatever the story is, I don't see any downsides to it unless the game is crap. I want to play it. I hope it's true. It sounds a lot better to me to be in Japan than something like Aztecs, which was the other rumor that was released. But you can check out the full article down below. I don't really like getting super in-depth into rumors because essentially a lot of the time they get either proven false or not entirely true. But I'll have the link down below. Let me know what you think about Assassin's Creed being in Japan. Maybe even where you'd like to see it the next Assassin's Creed based. I know some people said like, you know, Roman legions again. Maybe you get to be a Roman legion gladiator or something along those lines. Who knows? I want Japan. I'm excited if it's true. We can only wait and see if the company announces anything. Now, you remember that I said that Facebook, or Meta as they're called these days, was trying to push VR to a ton of people and making things cheap and accessible. But as PC Gamer says, it might be a weird way to encourage further adoption of VR. But on the other hand, they want more money. And you know what? Their Quest 2 VR prices are going up $100. It will go from $299 to $399. And the 256 gigabyte unit will go from $399 to $499. Now, initially, Meta was trying to get a lot more people into VR and making it more accessible to everybody. Obviously, with the prices going down, this would make it a thing because I know a lot of people who are willing to spend $300 on a VR headset to experience it, but not $400. Who knows? Who knows if this is still going to sell as many units? Their reason was they want to make up more money for the long term to continue investing, moving the VR industry forward. I think they essentially just got greedy with this. They're already a ton of money in the hole from developing these things, like 50 billion or 36 billion or something. I remember we talked about it a while back. It was a ludicrous amount. And so maybe they're just trying to make up some of that cost difference. But I don't know if telling everyone and getting everyone excited for the price of being, you know, $299 and making them think that they can afford it, and then suddenly increasing it by $100 is a way to go. Kind of might just destroy your hype train. But we'll have to wait and see what the sales are like, because personally, I'm not going to buy it. I already have a really nice headset. I have a Vive Pro I with the wireless setup, and I know a lot of other people have indexes, but this was supposed to appeal to the you know, crowd that wasn't an enthusiast, but more just wanted to dabble in it. But I don't think that's going to do it so much now. The Meta Quest 2 will be continues to be the most affordable VR headset with a comparable feature set on the market. But again, $100 is a lot, man, especially in the current times in the current economy. And I can't really see a lot more people paying for that. I would see a lot less paying $400 versus $300, but we'll have to wait and see. And finally, one small article is that VR chat related to VR stuff is being bombed to hell and back after their anti-cheat announcement. Now, the reason people are pissed about this is that it would be regulating modding, and modding in VR chat is something that a lot of people support because it you know, it lacks a lot of accessibility features. These mods typically make up for this. A lot of functionality, things like keyboard integration, a ton of other stuff. I don't play VR chat, but I'm very well versed in what these mods add. And essentially easy anti-cheat is going to be slapping down a lot of these things that people like. Their reasoning for adding it is there's a lot of mods and malicious mods that are responsible for a massive amount of issues for their team and their users, which involves like crashes and server destroyers, video card crashers, all this awful stuff, you know, stealing of content, ripping of things, just stuff that they have to deal with that they don't want to deal with. So they're throwing in an easy anti-cheat to regulate a little bit of it, but it is going to punish a lot of the standard users who just want to mod the game and have better UI accessibility and ease of use things that make the game more fun for them as individuals. It currently is absolutely destroyed, with recent reviews saying that it is very bad and very not enjoyable with this change. The game's recent reviews are mostly negative, with over 10,000 reviews, around 1,000 of those flooding then as this article was being written. Probably way more now, but people aren't happy about it. It'll be interesting to see if they cancel this and just try to figure out a different solution, or if they allow like an improved mod channel. But it's sad. VR chat's one of the biggest platforms, I think, for VR in general. I personally know about 80% of my friends use the platform and use it to socialize. And you got to listen to your community, because stuff like this, if you don't properly do it or properly implement it, can drive away a lot of your most dedicated core user base. And that typically just pushes them to another platform that competes with yours that doesn't have those sort of restrictions that they're ticked off about. So who knows? One final news article that is now making it into the news, that was actually something that I just read about literally 5 minutes after finishing the other news. So this obviously take place after the VR chat one, is that the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game has been paused indefinitely amid a studio shakeup. Essentially what happened is that the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake had a demo finalized known as a vertical slice to show production partners at Lucasfilm and Sony. The developers were excited and thought it was on track, according to them, for the release date. And then they were shocked what happened next, and they fired the design director Brad Prince and the art director Jason Miner. And the game is currently just on hold indefinitely now. One person familiar with discussions suggested that a disproportionate amount of money and time had gone into the demo, and that the project's current course was not sustainable. The developers of the company said that the game was supposed to release around 2022, but it was actually supposed to be around 2025, and it was more realistic as a target. So this game is now on hold and might even die, depending on what people do and what decisions are made. But yeah, this is a damn tragedy, because I was personally super excited for the Knights of the Old Republic game, and God, the fact that it's having this much issue, or this many issues, is honestly just terrible. It's clear that someone who was shown the demo absolutely did not like it to fire the two people in charge of it, for the design director and art director. And it's clear that someone with Lucas was really upset at the direction they were going, and the timeline obviously pissed a lot of people off. Another point of contention, as it said here, would be the timeline. It wasn't working. People were just being forced to work way too hard. The game wasn't going to be ready at launch, and this is just a sudden tragedy that we now have to live with. And hopefully it doesn't get completely canned. It would be nice if it came out before 2025, but I would prefer that it comes out period rather than not at all. But we'll have to wait and see more news on this. But this is wild that this happened, and I just wanted to get this in before the news ends. And that's going to be it for the news. Let me know what you thought of all this discussion, and anything that you want to talk about can be talked about down in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed the video. The sources are all down below in the description. And until the next video, this is Delrith, and I'll be seeing you. Bye.